Okay, I'm just setting up the live stream. Shouldn't take too long. Okay, I think we're there. Good. So this evening we are in the newly updated Piper Warrior from Just Flight, and we're going to be doing a flight from Kodiak over to Palmer Buddy Woods. So let's go and have a look at the flight plan. So we're taking off from Kodiak on Kodiak Island, and we're going to fly northeast. We're going to go via Anchor Point and then go up past. If we zoom in, we can show you Anchorage on the map. It's kind of obscured underneath all the labelling up here, and then end up at Palmer Buddy Woods, which is quite a famous airport up in the wilds of Alaska. It's a really busy airport actually, so it should be good fun. So first things first, let's go and put some fuel in our aeroplane. We've got wonderful weather. There isn't a breath of wind, so I'm taking a bit of a risk using a single engine aeroplane to do this, but we're not going to worry too much. So yeah, we've got full tanks of fuel. We just got the pilot, we haven't got a co-pilot, we've got some luggage on board. So let's go and jump inside our aeroplane. I've always been really impressed with these Just Flight Piper aeroplanes. They look great. So we need to get the aeroplane up and running. Notice it's very rudimentary inside, which is good. I like that. I would rather have this than, you know, all of the avionics, all the modern avionics. This gives you something to do. So I'm just going to pop the yokes off while we get the airplane ready, and we'll put the tablet on briefly, and we'll go and say get rid of the chocks and the tie downs. Now it's got wheel fairings on it. I think we'll leave them on. So it hasn't got retractable undercarriage. I have to remember that. That saves me if I go and try and put it into the ground. We'll leave the auto fuel selector on, just to make our life a little bit easier. Now we could have a nice GPS if we really wanted to. I'm wondering, no, I think we'll do VOR navigation along the way because it's more fun. So I think we've done everything we need to do in the tablet, so we can come out of the tablet and go and start getting the airplane ready. So battery and alternator can go on, and the fuel selector is over here. It's on the left tank at the moment, which is good. And I've got this set for it. Right, I'm going to change my controls slightly. Actually, no, I'll leave it alone. I'll use the mixture on just in the cockpit here because it's just as easy. So I've got the throttle mapped. Okay, so I'm just having a quick look around before we go and do anything else. So we're going to put the fuel pump on. It's great that you can hear it. Hopefully you can hear that as well. And we'll go and put the anti-collision lights on just before we start the engine up. So should we just exercise the throttle while that fuel pump's running? And let's go and see if it will turn over. So just trying to get it to tick over at 1000 RPM. Seems quite happy. So the avionics switch in this airplane is hidden around this corner. So we're going to turn that on. Not that there's much in the way of avionics to switch on in this airplane, but we'll go and put the... Well, actually, we don't want pitot heat just yet. We'll go and put the nav lights on now. So is this the internal lights? Yes, the panel lights. I'm just going to go and get rid of the tooltips because they annoy me. I was looking at a different airplane earlier today that I've chosen not to do a video about because it was a huge disappointment, and I'm not going to say what airplane it was. Calibrate the altimeter. Calibrate directional gyros, they look fine. And we'll go and tune into our first nav beacon, which is the one just off the takeoff here. Kodiak, which is 11710. So we got 11710. we'll switch this to voice, and we'll switch all of the radios on around the aircraft. And we'll go and turn on the GPS. Even though we're not going to use it, we'll have it on anyway. And we'll go and switch the DME on and put the ADF on, although we may not use it. I don't think there's many stations up here that will be of any use to us. Okay. So 11710, if we go, have we picked it up already? It looks like we have. If we go and change the course to point towards it. Yeah, it's already working, look. It's only a few miles away, that's why. Okay, so that's the direction we want to be going when we take off. Initially, just for a few miles, and then we'll head off out. Okay, let's have a look outside. So, lights are working. Excellent. So, as far as I'm aware, the runway is just over here, and we're at the right end of the runway to do a direct or a straight out departure. We might need some lights, you know. I'm hoping it's not going to get too dark too quickly. Okay, there's the runway straight down to the bay. Let's go and put the pitot heat on and the landing lights on for the moment. Should we go and turn these lights on inside? Not that it really does a lot, but do we get any overhead lamps that will help us out? Just in case it does get dim. Gently. There isn't a breath of wind. Absolutely rock steady. Okay, so now we've cleared the airport, we're going to fly out towards the beacon. And you see it's 4 miles to go on the DME. We'll just go and get the CDI back into the middle. We'll fly the track that we measured. So the first leg is going to be quite a boring one, so I'll put the autopilot on because we've got to fly across 100 miles worth of ocean to get to the mainland. So you'll see what I mean in a moment. Yeah, we've got to fly, although we've got to cross the island here. I guess it's an interesting one, isn't it? What we could do is put a point over here for navigation purposes, just to make it a bit more interesting. to make the... Yeah, let's do that. So if we go and out of position over here, we want to leave the VOR on 310 degrees. Let's do that. So we'll cut the corner off, trim the aeroplane out so it's not diving all over the place. And I'm just going to turn head tracking off for a moment so I can concentrate. So we actually want the course to be 310, which is there. So we are going the right way to intercept that course, which is good. Now let's have a look. I'm just looking around the needles to see what we've got in terms of pressures and... Pressure's good. Full tanks. Water temperature's fine. Streaks of snow on the hills. Either that or their scenery aberrations. I have completely forgotten about the transponder, but we're not using ATC anyway, so we can put it on for the super correct people who will get OCD with it being switched off. Should put the yokes back on the landing light come back off. So we are on the course we wanted to be on, to go out towards the furthest edge. So at least we've got some sightseeing to do before we cross over the water towards mainland Alaska. I guess skirt around the edge of this bay just to make it a bit more interesting. We know what direction we eventually want to be going, so we're heading for the VOR. So it's that's counting, yeah, the distance from the one we're measuring from, which is good. And then so let's go and have a look at the map. Should we put the autopilot on? So we want it on nav mode, so it will keep the track for us. That's working. And then it's just down to us to trim the elevators. So there are some hidden click spots you can see. No, I think they are around here. There's one. To do altitude hold. But I'm not going to use them at the moment, I'm just going to trim it myself. So we're gently climbing, which is what we want to do. We're just coming up through 3,000 feet, so we want to start leaning out. Should we see those yokes throwing themselves around as the airplane fights against the wind? Let's get a bit more power now, shall we? Stress it. Now, are there any other beacons around that we can use to make it a bit more fun? Probably not. And non-directional beacons don't tend to have a great range. Let's go and check the volume levels as well. Okay, yeah, it's quite loud, isn't it, in the cockpit? I'm going to turn the airplane down a bit so you can hear me over it, and then I don't have to shout either. Checking around, make sure everything's looking okay. It looks so far. So we're just holding the compass direction for the moment, which is coming up to 4,000 feet. If we climb to about 5,000, it should be enough. Mr. Bullseye saying we've come a long way from Oxford. We certainly have. Yeah, it was. We took off from Oxford originally and flew over to Germany, if I'm not mistaken, and then down to Turkey. It's been, yeah, a long journey. This is leg number 19, I think. We've used all sorts of aeroplanes along the way as well. Kept it interesting. So, we were going to have a look at the map, weren't we? So we're flying out for 38 miles or so, and then we'll switch over to the next VOR station, which is the Homer VOR, which has a 200-mile range. But then we get that long drag across the water. But doing this, we get to skim past Ushagat Island, and then skim the coast past Port Graham, Oyster Cove, and go overfly Homer, and then in towards what's it called, Kenai Muni, and over the top of Anchorage, and finally into Palmer Buddy Woods. There's so many airports up here. Have you ever seen this on the map? It's awesome up here. There's little airfields everywhere. They're all about 2 miles apart. So our actual course needs to be 310. Are we doing 310? Oh, the wind is blowing us around, I guess. So we'll need to factor for that. So we're just coming up to 5,000 feet. So we'll trim out this climb in a moment. Or we can press the hidden click spot to go to altitude hold, which is always good fun. It's just edging its way up to 5,000. I may not even have to trim it, you know. Oh, I say that, look, and it's gathering some climb rate, I mean, sorry. So yeah, these Just Flight Pipers, they've been out for a long time, haven't they? But they've always been really good. And pilots of the real ones say they more or less behave exactly like the real thing. So we're still on the left tank. I think we left it on the tablet to say do auto fuel selection. Yeah, we did. Always makes me laugh when you see the little curtains in these aeroplanes. It's very 1960s, 1970s, isn't it? Okay, I don't think we actually need that light on after all. Can probably turn the instrument lights off as well. So 5,500 feet. We're looking good actually, aren't we, for altitude? So let's get ourselves to 5.5. And we're going to try this out and see if it works. So I've just pressed the altitude hold click spot. So keep an eye on this. Did it actually? I don't know if I hit it or not. There we go. No, is that with it or without it? Or does it just do pitch hold? I think it's pitch hold, you know. So what you'd have to do is, I guess, press it again. The trouble is there's no way of knowing if it's on or off. So if we turn the autopilot off and back on, and then trim it again. I'm just trying to see how we can get this accurate. So I don't think it actually has altitude hold, unless there's another click spot. I'll have a look in a minute in the documentation. Okay, so I've pressed the button, the hidden click spot. Let's go and have a look in community folder, the Warrior, and we want to go into documents and the Warrior manual. So we can get rid of that out of the way. And while we're flying, vertical speed hold click spot. Altitude hold click spot is 6. Okay, so we can do it. So I guess this needs to have the focus to see the mouse change. It's that. Okay. So we can relax now. Relax into the flight. Do we have any sort of heating in the cabin? I'm not sure that we do. It's just you put a warm jumper on and hope for the best. Oh, there is some vents over there though. Let's go and have a look. We'll scoot over there. Fan, high. And that's the heat. Excellent. So, do we have an interior temperature somewhere? That's the outside air temperature, which is Fahrenheit, so it's -5, but obviously there's no perspiration around, so precipitation even. Yeah, it's pretty cold. Crisp, cold air. You can see for miles. Let's just hope it doesn't freeze up, hey? So if we put some heating on, I wonder if there is an interior temperature somewhere. Let's have a look around. I'm not sure there is, you know. What's this one here for? Oh, it's carb heat. Okay. We shouldn't need that. Famous last words. There's the parking brake. So how are we doing on distance? 27 miles. So as soon as we get out to the headland there, we could go a bit further. I guess, yeah, there's that. I mean, that's interesting though. We were looking for 310 degrees on the course, weren't we? I guess it's trying to fly, but that wind doesn't agree with the direction we're being pushed. Unless it's just not doing a very good job of tracking it, or we've got some drift. Nope, we just pressed D to see if that would line up, and it hasn't. So, anyway, let's go and switch over to the next VOR station. So what we'll do is put the aeroplane back onto heading mode on the autopilot. Which is underneath here. And then we can switch the radio frequency on the Nav1 to the radio frequency of the Homer VOR, which we said was 11460. And we've picked it up straight away. So what direction did we want to go to it? 16 degrees. About there. So when the CDI falls into the middle, we'll turn right. And that'll put us broadly on the right track. So I was going to go and look, wasn't I, see if there's a temperature, a cabin temperature. Outside air temperature. I don't think there is one. This is all just about gas and oil temperatures. Yeah, oh well. Let's minimize that, we don't need it. Where did we start out from? We started out in Oxford in England a few months ago. Was it a few months ago? I forget how long ago it was now. And we started out here. We worked all the way down here, and then down through Iraq and along the edge of Saudi Arabia, and then we jumped across to Pakistan and India, and then we went to Hong Kong, and then across to southwestern Japan. And we flew the length of Japan, and then we jumped across to Attu Station, was it? Or one of these along here. And then flew across to Nikolsky. And then Nikolsky over to Kodiak. And now we're doing this next bit. So today, yeah, it's a little GA aeroplane to do this part of the route, and then the next leg I imagine will be from Palmer Buddy Woods down to Juneau, which is Papa Alpha Juliet November over there, and then from Juneau it'll probably be Vancouver, and then working our way across the US to see some sights along the way. So we're almost on top of the CDI beam now, so we're going to go and spin the heading bug around, get the airplane to change direction for us. and then we'll go back to nav mode and let it chase. So we've got 101 miles showing up on the distance measuring equipment. So we've used all sorts of aeroplanes along the way. We've had twins and turboprops and big jets, little jets, all sorts of things. GA aeroplanes for some of it. Okay, so we're going to go back to, sorry, nav mode, not approach mode. There we go, nav mode. So it's going to chase the CDI now on the course we've asked for the next 100 miles. So this is going to be the boring bit. So I'll just leave it on the outside view for a while. And I may go and stretch my legs and come back in a bit when there's something worth seeing. So what we can do is the age-old trick with LittleNavMap of opening the window layout minimal, so just turning all the dialogues off. Put this over in the corner of the screen so you can see where we are along this leg. Put that over here and go to the taskbar settings and hide the taskbar, and then we get our nice view of the world. We can make this much smaller, can't we? So you don't really need to see much detail, you just know we're heading towards Alaska. So I'm guessing Clueless God's using an Xbox then if you don't have access to LittleNavMap. I should have been running Volanta. I've forgotten again, haven't I? Let's go and fire it up. And before we do that, we'll go to File and Flight Plan, copy it to the clipboard, so then we can put it into here. There's that aeroplane, look, it's the exact one. Very cool. So add a flight plan, enter a text route, paste that in from LittleNavMap. We've got a waypoint in there, so we'll save that. And there's our route. There's our little aeroplane tracking it, so that will keep us up to date. Let's go and accept friend requests that are waiting in Volanta and let it get on and track the flight. So if you're using an Xbox, do you know about SkyVector? Also, do you know about ChartFox? So let me show you while we're doing this. SkyVector. It's free. So SkyVector gives you real-world charts of certainly the US. So you get the FAA sectionals. But you can use it in the same way as LittleNavMap. Obviously it won't show your aeroplane on the map though, but you can go and program flight plans in, and it's entirely web-based. So it goes right down to the details, so at least while you're flying, if you know where you are, you can figure out on the map. So it's like having the maps of the whole of the US available to you. The other thing you've got available to you is chartfox.org. If we go and get started, and if we type in, say, where are we going to? Palmer Buddy Woods, wasn't it? Which was, oh no, let's say where we took, no, let's go see where we're going. Sorry about indecision. Papa Alpha Alpha Quebec. So say we want to say, whoops, PAAQ, and what do we get in here that we can have a look at? It gives you some charts. So if we went and looked at SIDS, for example, or stars or approach charts, so it's got some of the charts, it hasn't got all of them. But say we put in Kodiak there, and I think we can do a search for anything, to be honest. We don't have to do it Yeah, so there we go, Kodiak Airport. So yeah, it's got the ground map here, look for Kodiak. So there you go, ChartFox will give you free charts. And SkyVector will give you the FAA sectionals and the ability to put flight plans in. So if you said flight plan and you said my aircraft, oh look, it's asking for sign in. Cancel that. Do we have? Oh, we have to these days. Okay. I don't know if I've got a login for it. Not in this browser. But anyway, it's free to log in. You just need to be careful with SkyVector though. That don't file your flight plan because they're real. So you can have the different altitude sheets as well. Look, so it's very good. It's got all the airways and the sectors. It takes a bit of learning, but there's lots of YouTube videos on how to use it. In some ways, SkyVector is probably more powerful than either Navigraph or LittleNavMap because it's a professional tool. So we're just going to be tootling along for the next however long. We're doing 100 knots. So 100 miles, 100 knots, about an hour to get there. Or 100 nautical miles, I should say. 100 knots per hour. So it's going to be a little while until we've got anything to do. So we'll just leave the aeroplane chugging along. Let's go and just check its temperatures, because we were pushing it quite a lot on the way out. So RPM is down here. So that's worth having a look actually, because I didn't check what the parameters are for the engine, what we should be looking to cruise at. Has it got anything worth looking at for us? Looking for tables of information. Normal maximum cruising power, 75% of rated horsepower of the engine. So we shouldn't be going as fast as we are. Okay, let's go and pull that back a bit. Yeah, it's going to be about 2300, isn't it? Which you'd expect. Means we're going to lose a little bit of airspeed, but it's still going to be tootling along about 100 knots. Maybe a little bit less. There we go. Nice pretty picture of Alaska, or sorry, Kodiak Island behind us. So I'm going to go make a coffee. It'd be worth looking, certainly for SkyVector, rather than just get lost with it, go and look up YouTube videos on how to use it. It is not intuitive, but it's incredibly powerful. I think in SkyVector you can type the route straight into it, like you know, the text version of the route, and it will interpret it in the same way that Navigraph can shortcut doing that. But you'll have to have a play with it. should we try it? I'm intrigued myself now to see what we can get away with it. So if I go to Sky Vector and log in and put in my email address, which I can't remember what it is, and I haven't got a password to show, but I've got a password manager. So then I could go for Sky Vector. No, I haven't got it on file, so I'll have to go reset it, I guess. Forgot password. Unless it's an old password. Let me just try that again. I'll try a known old password first. Yeah, it's worked. I need to reset that then. I've been slowly working through all of my old passwords. So, yeah, I think we can put in our text of our route here. So if we put the tail number in, let's say GJ Beck, departure was... Where did we depart from? Pad Q to PAAQ. Oh, we can put it in here, can't we? So if we were to do that and see what it makes of it. So yeah, it's read that look straight away. It understood it just by pasting it in. So altitude, it's saying 8,000 feet for the flight. If we go over here and have a look on the map, there's our route look. And it's doing exactly the same trick that LittleNavMap does with the routings. Obviously you can change the rendering. So we know we're along here at the moment, just crossing past these last bits of island. You can actually refer to them here, look, zoom in, have a look. It's very good. There you go, Sky Vector, for anybody that was interested. How did it get the custom point? I put the custom point in on LittleNavMap, and when I went to the flight plan menu, I could copy the flight plan to the clipboard. So when you saw it in here, if you look at it carefully, it's just got a longitude and latitude. Yeah. So custom waypoints are just represented as longitudes and latitudes. In Sky Vector, I think you can drag them around. So yeah, we can rubber band it to put another one in, if we wanted to. And it will tell us the GPS of that point, and we can confirm it. So if there was one that was already here, we could move it around, and you will see that change if we confirm the change. But you can play games with just dragging the middle of a route around like a rubber band. It's good, isn't it? Anyway. Yeah, as Firefox says, do not submit the flight plan because it's a real one. There's nothing to stop you using it though to look. So, Clueless God is saying yes. You can use it however whichever way suits you. If you can, you can hack the tools at your disposal and combine them in the best way you can imagine. A bit like me yesterday when the A380 went wrong, and I ended up with selected mode only on the autopilot and had to play with radio navigation to get to the destination. It was like a little bit of lateral thinking very quickly. The only thing I'm worried about with this aeroplane today is icing up, because this aeroplane is really not the aeroplane for these conditions, so we might have to change the weather if we do ice up. There are lots of other flight planning tools around. That's not the only game in town, but SkyVector's very good because you get the FAA sectionals, so you know there's lots of information to keep you to enrich the experience. So I'm going to go grab a coffee, I'm going to leave the aeroplane chugging along, and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, I'm back. So let's have a look at the map. We're just passing past another island. If we go and look sideways, whoa, there it is. So this island, Ushagat Island. Should we do the usual thing and see what we can find out about it along the way? Just using yet another screen. So this and Kodiak are known as the Barren Islands. A group of islands in the Gulf of Alaska lie off the south-central coast of Alaska in the United States. These are the northernmost islands of the Kodiak archipelago. They're quite spectacular, don't they? So the Barren Islands are uninhabited. Administratively, they are part of Alaska's Kodiak Island Borough. They were named on the 25th of May 1778 by the British explorer Captain James Cook of the Royal Navy, who wrote they obtained their name of the Barren Islands from their very naked appearance. There we go. There's not much up here because it's so cold. So we're just passing halfway on this leg. Excuse me. So the next waypoint along our route is this place called Nanwalek. The actual area, let's go and have a look at the map on the bigger scale. Yeah, Google Terrain isn't great, is it, at showing names of things? Ideally we want Google Earth alongside it, don't we? But you can't project the map onto Google Earth. Okay, so JP Schultz was the pilot channel name of the actual Round the World in a Cessna. Very cool, I'll have to look that up. So if we go and keep an eye on this. So Nanwalek, Walek even. So if we go and search for that. Nanwalek, Alaska. So obviously Alaska used to be part of Russia. So Nanwalek was originally known as Alexandrovsk and later English Bay. It has a population of 254 as of the 2010 census, up from 177 in 2000. There is a school in the community attended by 76 students. That's a lot, isn't it? So subsistence activities are a large part of the culture for indigenous people, and Nanwalek is no exception, especially when it comes to salmon and seal harvesting. The sale of alcohol is banned in the village, although importing and possession are allowed. So it says here, Nanwalek and Port Graham are located near the southern tip of the Kenai Peninsula and are separated by less than 5 miles. Both villages are accessible only by air or water. They lie 23 miles southwest of Homer. The Alaska Marine Highway System provides service to nearby Seldovia, located only 10 miles up the coastline. A state-owned 1,850-foot gravel airstrip sits atop a natural spit which divides the small lagoon from the southern mouth of Cook Inlet. We'll see that as we fly past. So it was a Russian fortress, Alexandrovsk. The first Russian post on mainland Alaska was established at the present site of Nanwalek by the men of Grigory Shelikov's company in 1786, while Shelikov himself was still on Kodiak Island. So there's a fair bit of feudal warfare going on between different groups from Russia on this part of the world. So many of the current residents of this part of the world are mixed Russian and Sugpiak. I think that's how you pronounce it. That's probably wrong. Sugpiak. Heritage. Villagers speak Sugston, an Eskimo language closely related to Yupik. Nanwalek first appeared in the 1880 US census as the unincorporated village of Alexandrovsk. Interesting. So Dad Game Time says the channel just gets better and better. What, you really like me reading Wikipedia pages while we're waiting to do long passages in a prop plane? I'm just filling dead space really. Otherwise this would be tremendously boring watching the aeroplane chugging along. We ought to go and check on the aeroplane really, didn't we? See how the engine's doing. So fuel is... It's still using left. It hasn't switched to right. Oh, it has. It just hasn't used any yet. Okay. Oil pressure's good. Fuel pressure's good. Oil temperature's good. The RPM is good. We're averaging about 95 knots. and we have got 36 miles to run to the VOR. I'll have to have a look up one day. I don't think you can program this in the aircraft unless they've improved it, but you can use it with the flight, the world plan tool. Can we change it in flight for the GNS, do you think? Should we have a look? Because we're not flying by GPS, we're using VOR. So if we do that, although this will change, won't it? So let's go back to heading mode just briefly. Whoa! Don't start turning, you silly aeroplane. Yeah, the autopilot's kicked off, look, as soon as I switched off the GPS, which is not surprising, really. So, should we go and program our route in retrospectively? We can turn this off now. So we've got a 4:30 and a 5:30, that's rather handy. I wonder if they're synchronised with their flight plans. So, I'm going to have to remind myself now what the route was. Actually, we don't need that. All we need is a notepad. PADQ to PAAQ. And we want to go via ODK, which is the Homer one, I think. And that's Kodiak, sorry. And then Homer's, yeah, Hom, sorry. Being ridiculously silly. H-O-M, Homer, enter. And then we're going on to Enna and Ted. So if we just carry on along our route, we can carry on using the same, was it 114.6, I think? Yes. Get rid of that. So we've gone way off the VOR route. So 114.6. Because we've probably gone past it, haven't we? No? Okay, what's gone wrong with this? Have I broken the aeroplane? I won't put it past me. Oh, we're using GPS, of course we are. CDI needs to go to VLOC, and then this will start behaving itself. And then we'll say nav mode, please. And it's trying to straighten up the CDI. That's why it's going left, and then it will turn right. It's trying to fly the course I've told it to. We're still 30 miles out. So we actually wanted 16 degrees on here, not 20. So let's go and cause havoc. Yeah, that's more like it. So it'll probably, yeah, it's turning hard right now, look. To put ourselves back on the correct vector. Should we have a look over these hills while we're here? So if we have a look on the map, we should find that town we were just talking about. It's just off of our about 10 o'clock. There's that dirt strip that we were talking about that was on Wikipedia. that's on a spit of land. It's tempting to go down there, isn't it? Should we do it? It'll give us something of interest to do, won't it? So off the autopilot. Let's go and visit them. So I guess we just skim the headland and then do a steep left turn onto the runway. So let's go and put the landing lights on. And carry on descending. A little bit fast. Well, fast for a warrior anyway. They haven't got a windsock, have they? I mean, we can cheat and look at LittleNavMap to find out where the wind is. Oh my word, it's 24 knots. We're gonna have to come in from. This is going to be a nightmare. Although that's the wind where we are. On the ground, it's only variable 4 knots because obviously it's sheltered. So we should be fine. I'm just going to go and side slip us alarmingly to lose some speed. This has had some special attention. Look, it's got rocks modelled. And there's the windsock. Starsky and Hutch landing technique. Let's get some speed up before we do the turn. We go on our merry way. Okay. So we'll skim across the top of these hills en route. I'll put the autopilot back on. I'm keeping an eye on it though. I'm going to go back to the track. Remember, this is slightly out because it didn't have the custom waypoint in it. I don't think there's one out there either. There aren't any fixes out here that we could use in the neighbourhood either. No. So we're just coming back onto that 16 degree course. So the CDI is coming in and it will bank left in a moment when the CDI gets a little bit closer to the course needle. Okay, we're thrashing the engine here. I'm going to pull it back to 2400 and trim out some of this climb. Actually, are we high enough now? Not quite. Let's take the autopilot off for a moment. Need to get some speed back. Autopilot back on. Okay, and we're off towards the VOR. Okay, so for the moment, let's go and level the wings out. So we'll hit that secret click spot that holds our altitude. It's going to be fairly cold over there, isn't it? I hope we don't get any cloud around. Otherwise we will ice up. There's not much we can do about it in this aeroplane either. It may curtail our flight if we get turned into a snowball. So yeah, Mike Coffey's question there to Lee is a really good one. I wonder if Simbrief integration is built into 2024. I wonder what AirAC. I wonder if that means that Simbrief have done a deal with Meteo Blue. Is it? Who is it that prepares the data for the AirAC for Asobo? I'm back on heading mode again, aren't I? Let's go and fix this then. Not paying attention. See, scenery around here is gorgeous, isn't it? So we are passing what's it called? Ketchimak Bay. Ketchimak Bay. There's a little airfield down here called Homer. So we've got Oyster Cove and Halibut Cove. I wonder what they catch there. So it's VOR hopping for the next little while. So just under 4,000 feet. I wonder what the altitude profile. Let's go and have a look. Open window layouts default. We want this to be about 5,000 feet. And change it to VFR, though not it does anything to this, but oh, there's no data for the land up here. That's a shame. So we don't get the altitude plot. Oh well. But we can always look at the contours on Google. So this gives it in feet in this part of the world. So 1,600 feet for Homer. What about some of these peaks? 1,600. 1,800 next to it. So this is looking fairly flat. So we'll be fine at 4,000. Famous last words as we plough into a hilltop somewhere. So if we wanted this to be the same as the GPS track, let's remove this. And we're coming now into what we've got in LittleNavMap. So we want to be on the 359 degree radial. Which is probably about there. So there's the runway. VOR is probably over there somewhere in the... Oh, it's on top of the hill, it's up there. Be interesting to fly over the VOR and see if we can spot it on the ground. So, if Simbrief... Maybe Flight Sim have done a deal with Navigraph and Simbrief, because Simbrief is owned by Navigraph. So maybe this means that 2024 is going to get the AIRAC data from Navigraph going forwards. Who knows? I'm sure we'll all find out eventually. Okay. So we're just coming in towards the vector that we wanted. We could switch this over now to GPS. So the CDI now is reflecting and the course. We can still rotate this, which always makes me laugh. In some of these older HSI installations, the rotation is free of what's going on, you know, on the screen. So it's up to you to rotate the course to make sense. It's just captured. So it's going to turn left, hopefully, at some point. The CDI is in the middle now. Why isn't it flying towards it? Oh, because I've gone heading mode again. I've done it again, haven't I? Of course, we changed nav source, which cuts it back to heading mode. There we go. Now it all lines up and makes sense. How are we doing for fuel? Haven't looked for a while. So 3/4 full left tank. Right tank's still got quite a bit left. Well, it's still not even moved off the top of the gauge yet. So we are just passing over Homer. Let's have a look at, see what we can find out about Homer, Alaska. Population 5,500 10 years ago, or 15 years ago now nearly. Homer was named for Homer Pennock, a gold mining company promoter who arrived in 1896 on the Homer Spit and built living quarters for his crew of 50 men. However, gold mining was never profitable in the area. Another earlier settlement, Miller's Landing, was named after Charles Miller, who homesteaded in the area around 1915. According to local historian Janet Klein, he was an employee of the Alaska Railroad and had wintered company horses on the beach grasses on the Homer Spit. Halibut and salmon sport fishing, along with tourism and commercial fishing, are the dominant industries. Homer co-hosted the 2006 Arctic Winter Games. It was formally incorporated as a village on the census in 1964. It's really remote up here, isn't it? Look how desolate this landscape is. So yeah, I wondered earlier if this was synchronized. It is. So we could put this on the first page and get just the data, which is quite cool. So we get quick lookup data. So you can have the best of both worlds. You can have the north-oriented view on the 530 and the data on the 430. We could also put this on terrain mode if we wanted to. Yeah, obviously there's nothing to show. Well, not at this range anyway. So we have nothing to worry about slamming into nearby, otherwise it would be lit up on the map, and it isn't. So we are above anything that's nearby. There's some stuff over there, but that's a fair bit further away. Yeah, there it is, look. There we go. Very cool. So we've got 3, or we've left the last waypoint behind by 3 more nautical miles. Ground speed 120 knots. It's quite cool, isn't it? You can get all this data. If we go and put this onto the... Yeah, we get an ETE, estimated time en route. That's to the next waypoint. Or to the previous waypoint even. That's interesting, isn't it? Why is it doing that? Why is it counting backwards? Is it... Oh, is it because it's on the wrong leg? It should be magenta, shouldn't it? We want the route to Enna. So, flight plan. And then... No, we don't want to do that. I want to select Enna, go menu, activate leg, enter, enter. There we go. And all the numbers are now making sense. 25 minutes to Enna. And we've gone off track because obviously, yeah, we weren't tracking the GPS properly. And it's now doing it. And it's going to turn right again and put us back on the GPS track. I bet if anybody's watching on the ground, they're thinking, why is that aeroplane corkscrewing around all over the place? I really like the GNS 530. I know a lot of people don't like it because it's a bit clunky and a bit 1980s, but I really like it. I always have done. It's got tons of functionality hidden away inside it. So there's a waypoint database. Look, you can look up runways and approaches, arrivals, departures, VORs, NDBs, all sorts of stuff. You can even make custom waypoints if you really want to test your brain out. So we see if any of the airports around here have got ATIS. I doubt they have, but we'll find out. There's Multicom at Kasselhoff. What about Homer that we've just passed by? Oh, Homer had flight service station 122.200 at Kenai. Interesting. 123,600. Let's see if there's anything broadcasting on it. What was it again? 123,600. Nope. I don't think flight sim simulates stuff like that, but we might be lucky. We could pick up ATIS somewhere if we can find something that's got it. There we go. 133,350. COM1 speaker. Can we change the volume on this? Oh, it's already on maximum, I think. How far away are we? Oh, we're probably a bit too far away. Look, we're about 60 miles out. So maybe in about another 10 minutes we might start picking up ATIS. Uh, 123,350. Let's just double check that. Kenai Municipal 133,350. So if it suddenly bursts into life, we know why. Are there any non-directional beacons up here? If we turn them... Oh, there was one behind us. 277.0. Yeah, the arrow's pointing directly behind us, look. Which you'd expect it to. Are there any up ahead of us? I always have to go and switch this off and on the map to make them appear. It's the old astronomy trick. If you... Yeah, because then you get to see the change in the map. Whoops. Let's turn off that. 346.0. Let's try it. See if it turns round. Is it going to? We might be too far away. It's only got a 25-mile range. We're not close enough yet. So that will probably come alive a bit later on. So once we get up to here, we got another 50-mile trek across the middle of nowhere. That's the only problem with flying around here. I really should have gone via the mountains, shouldn't I? It would have been a bit more interesting. There's not much to see out here. I guess we still could. We're not too far away from the mountains. If we were to deviate... Although, look at the snow over there. And you'll probably get cloud in the mountains, and we really don't want to get frozen up. We're not in the airplane for it. Yeah, look at the cloud over there. We'll freeze up like a snowball if we go into any of the higher density air. It'd be mad. We're reassuringly ice-free at the moment. Right. I'm going to leave the map on the screen and leave the airplane flying along for a little bit. Okay, we want that smaller, don't we? Like that. Might be quite useful if we make this a bit smaller and do that. Then you get to see some landscape. Or not that there is a lot to see at the moment. As we head in towards the Echo November Alpha VOR Kenai Municipal. We might even pick up ATIS in a few minutes. Yeah, the drone of an engine. I just saw Mr. Bullseye's comment there in the live stream chat. The drone of an engine is quite... I don't know what it is about it. I've always been affected by it, ever since I was young. Let's go and pass some time by finding out about where we're going. So, Kenai Municipal. So we're on our way into Kenai Municipal, or not into it, but over Kenai Municipal Airport. A city-owned public-use airport located in Kenai City in the Kenai Peninsula borough of the US state of Alaska. The airport had 96,565 passenger boardings in the calendar year of 2008. Covers an area of 1,200 acres, elevation of 99 feet, 2 runways, has a seaplane landing area designated which measures 4,600 by 250 feet, 2 asphalt helipads. For the 12-month period, December the 1st, 2011, the airport had 40,000 aircraft operations. 110 per day. That's busy, isn't it? So 58% of those were air taxis, 32% general aviation, 8% military, 3% scheduled commercial. So, in 1955, Pacific Northern Airlines, PNA, the successor to Woodley Airways, served the airport with a DC-3 service operating twice daily on a southbound routing of Anchorage, Kenai, Homer, and Kodiak, as well as a northbound DC-3 service operated daily on a routing of Dillingham, Naknek, King Salmon and Iliamna. Is that how you say that? There were also northbound DC-3 flights operating twice a week between Kodiak, Homer, Kenai and Anchorage. By 1965, Pacific Northern was operating 3 non-stop flights on a daily basis from Kenai to Anchorage, with a DC-3 as well as a 4-engine Lockheed Constellation. So, 1967, Western Airlines, a major air carrier based in Los Angeles, acquired Pacific Northern, continued to serve Kenai following the merger of 2 airlines with Constellation prop liners, flying 4 times a day non-stop to Anchorage, with one of these Constellation flights also operating daily round-trip Anchorage, Kenai, Homer, Kodiak service. During the late 70s, early 80s, the airport had scheduled passenger jet service to Seattle. Using 737-200s. So jet service was stopped in 1984. Since then, only flying non-stop service to Anchorage, with all flights operating with commuter turboprop aircraft. That was the Seattle flights, I'm guessing. The last large commercial jetliner landed here in March 2014 when a massive snowstorm completely closed Anchorage International, causing United Airlines Flight 1425, a Boeing 737 from Chicago, to be diverted to Kenai, staying overnight to allow the pilots to complete mandatory rest. Okay, we are approaching Kenai, so if we spin the view around, we'll get to see it approaching. So, I'm going to get your name horrendously wrong. Is it Kawarashi? Kawarashi? It says, is there any GA you recommend? I normally fly airlines like the PMDG 737 or 777 and Phoenix A320. But recently I got an itch to fly GAs. I don't know. I'm. If you've watched my channel enough on YouTube, you know how non-choosy I am. I do like the black square aeroplanes, but they're not really GA. They're more commercial, aren't they? Because who can afford a TBM or anything like that? The A2A Comanche is really good from a realism point of view, but it's just such an ugly little aeroplane. I really like, though, just for pottering about and messing around in the sim, I still like the Coronado aeroplanes because they're cheap. Okay, they're not super realistic, but they're reliable and they're fun to fly. And if you're not hung up on needing autopilot, the Piper Archer 2 by Coronado looks amazing, and it flies, really, really reliably. The little Just Flight Tomahawk is great as well, but it's no autopilot on it, so you have to hand fly it. I don't mind that. I actually quite enjoy hand flying aeroplanes. Practicing circuits and doing maneuver practice. But yeah, if you want realism though, and you're not so hung up on it being GA, but you just want to use some little prop planes and stuff, go and look at the black square aeroplanes sold by Just Flight. They're absolutely brilliant. So they've got analog cockpits. You've got the TBM 850, you've got the King Air. There's an analog Caravan that's very good as well, and the Duke. The turbine and piston Dukes are really good as well. Yep, so Mr. Balls has got some good suggestions there as well. The JP Logistics 152. Can you still get hold of that though? Because I don't know the full backstory, but as far as I was aware, there was an argument between the developers, and whether it was, I'm not quite sure what the story was about whether they had the rights to use the bits they did to make the aeroplane, or whether they fell out. Not quite sure. So yeah, if you do manage to get hold of it, the JP Logistics 152 is essentially a Cessna 152 with a load of radio kit inside it and GPS kit to modernise it. But the black square aeroplanes are fantastic. Still got our landing light on, haven't we? I want to go and turn that off. Wasting electric. How are we going on the GPS? So we're 5 minutes out from the VOR, and then we're making the turn. So here's the airfield we were just talking about. Oh, sorry, no, there it is over there, the other side of the river. It's a big one, isn't it? So that would have been chock full of constellations and things like that many, many years ago. I'm trying to think what other aeroplanes are good that are that kind of end of the scale. Yeah, the Coronado makes some great little GA planes. Like the 182RG is very, very good. The Cessna 337 Skymaster is very, very good. That's the one with the propeller pusher and puller propellers. They're not super realistic in terms of, you know, modelling of the engine from Coronado, but sometimes you don't want that. Sometimes you just want to go for a fly. Yeah, so yeah, go and look up the Cessna 337 made by Coronado. It's great fun. It's called the Skymaster. I used to fly it a lot in the sim. Maybe I should do a leg of this in it. It's a bit of a noisy aeroplane. It sort of howls all the time because of the two engines. Have we picked up ATIS yet? We haven't, have we? Set course 353 degrees. But we're about to change anyway. The message will light up as soon as we hit the corner. this isn't the most interesting part of the world, is it? We should really have deviated over through the hills to have had something to look at. But again, like I said, I don't fancy flying through that cloud in these temperatures with a plane that doesn't have anti-ice hardware. In fact, we probably might not get away with it, because I wonder if we should cut this short. I don't think this aeroplane will survive through that bank of cloud out there, and we're going to have to go through it. I wonder if I climb above it. So, have we still got the documentation open? Damn it, no. What's the ceiling of this thing? Tell you, does it? I wonder if it's at the start of the documentation, maybe. Aha, here we go. 13,000 feet. Let's take ourselves up to 10,000 feet, shall we? I just want... looking at that cloud. In fact, what we could do is go and have a look at the weather report. Actually, do this properly. Open window layout. We could cheat and look on Navigraph, but we'll go and read it first. So if we go and look at Ted Stevens first. So broken 14. So that's 1,400 feet. Overcast 2,700 feet. So what we could do, if we want to get a three-dimensional view of it, is pull up Navigraph and go and have a look. If we did a new flight plan, have we still got that in the buffer? Yes, we have. So we've just made that corner, haven't we? For some reason this is not running. Is this doing its old trick again with the Symlink not running in the background? Oh, there's another update. They keep breaking it, don't they? Every day there's another break to Simbrief. Sorry, to Symlink. And it says it is running, even though it didn't look like it was. Okay, try again. So it's basically saying it's still running. Yeah, it's broken, isn't it? That's why it's not appearing in here. It still thinks Navigraph Simlink is running. Good here, isn't it? So let's try it again without doing the update. No, it's crashed again. Whatever they've done to it, they've really, really messed it up. End task. Simlink. Not now. Just let it run in the background. Wonder what they've done to it. So it is working. So then, oh, we've lost Navigraph now, haven't we? Because we told it to shut down. We'll get there eventually. Sorry about that. So we should be able to show where we are now. There we are, look. So the whole reason for coming in here was to show the weather. So we want to show the cloud cover and the radar, that's fine. (5,000 feet, 6,000 feet, 7, 8, 9, so 10,000 feet is probably fine then. Should just about stay above the cloud. Let's start our self-climbing then, shall we? So if we toggle the autopilot, and then we can use the trim to give ourselves some climb rate, I think. Oh, I think it maintains altitude, doesn't it? So if we give ourselves a sustained climb rate of, say, 500-600 feet a minute. There we go. And we'll see what happens. And we'll go and give it a bit more power. So we'll carry on climbing till we get to about 10,000 feet, hopefully. Keep an eye on the airspeed along the way. And the whole reason for this is to get to the destination and then just drop through the cloud like a stone, rather than fly through it for any length of time, or look for a gap in it. And hopefully don't ice up, because outside it is -8, -7, something like that. So it's below freezing. So 5,500 feet. It's coming up to 6,000. Hopefully we'll be high enough in time. Otherwise, we might have to expedite this a bit. Let's come then off the autopilot briefly and trim it out for 1,000 feet a minute or thereabouts. Yeah, I don't think we get away with 1,000. We're going to go for about 750. This needs to go back onto nav mode, doesn't it? Down to about 85 knots-ish. Ground speed 93. .7,000 feet, we're just coming through. That wall of cloud doesn't look very friendly, does it? So we need to have an option should we not be able to get through it. Hope looks like a good option. So we can see the cloud is out across the water then, but this is going to be fun, isn't it? I wonder if there are gaps in it. If we stay above it, we'll be okay. How are we doing for speed? No, we're going to have to take some of this climb rate out. It can't hold that. It can't sustain it. So climbing 500 feet a minute again. And slowly, we're managing about 70 knots. It's holding 70 knots though, which is good. Yeah, this isn't the best climb rate, I know. I just want to get to our target altitude and then we'll level out and let it carry on. So we're 20 minutes out from Ted Stevens. With a bit of luck, by the time we get to Palmer Buddy Woods, it won't be a problem. Maybe that let's have a look on Navigraph. So where was the cloud? If we zoom out a bit. So we're going to here. No, it's clear at Palmer Buddy Woods. So it's just this area that has the cloud. Interesting. You can see we're just getting to the top of it now. 9,500 feet, still 70 knots, it's hanging on. We have been racing the engine though, flat out. Although we're getting to the altitude where we wouldn't be manifold pressure limited anyway. This altitude. There's no manifold pressure gauge in this aeroplane, by the way, which is a bit of a pain. Just wondering if we can get any more speed out of it by leaning it a bit further. Here comes 10,000. So I need to go for altitude hold, don't I? Which was the little white, the hidden click spot is on the white, the button or the rivet on the fascia. Right, let's see how we do. We have some speed back. Now we can go back to cruise power. So with a bit of luck, we'll just overfly the freezing cloud and then drop into our destination. So apparently I was reading the notes about this shortly before the flight. There's lots of bits and pieces around ground handling and stuff like that that have been fixed. And it's using the CFD model now. It's also using various other bits of the new flight modelling. So it flies a lot more accurately. So with a bit of luck, we overfly Ted Stevens at altitude and avoid freezing up, and make our way up to Palmer Buddy Woods. Let's see if this will actually lean out and become rough running. No, you just lose RPM. It's not super realistic. So yeah, Mike, this is the Just Flight version of the Warrior. I think of the various airplanes, I bought the pack of all of them when the YouTube channel first started to take off. Pun intended. I bought the pack of all of the Pipers that Just Flight had on offer for a while. I don't know if they still sell them all in one go. But yeah, then I ran through and did first looks at all of them one after another. It's the PA-28 family, isn't it? I think. They do look good though, because like, if you put it on head tracking and we go and have a look around the cockpit, I'm too far away, aren't I? But the fascia and everything are very, very good. Oh, that's why I'm too far away. They do look very, very real, and they're really good frame rate as well. And the cabins are nicely modelled. So the material modelling and textures are very, very good. Anyway, I'll put myself back in the back of the cockpit. So, we've successfully so far avoided the treacherous cloud. There's a part of me that wants to go and land at the airfield that we know is below the cloud. So yeah, Ted Stevens at Anchorage. But no, we'll carry on up the coast as we've always planned to Palmer Buddy Woods. You can see the clouds are cleared further up the way, so with a little bit of luck we'll be okay. So I'm going to go stretch my legs. I'll leave this on a nice angle to watch the scenery and the clouds go by. I'll put this in the corner of the screen for a while. So you can see where we are. Right, I'll be back in a bit. Oh, just before I do go, Mike, so yeah, you were saying Coronado have been quiet about their planes not a peep for 2024. Who do you think's making all the aeroplanes for 2024? Okay, I'm back. So it looks like the weather's clearing up quite a lot, doesn't it? Got a fairly clear run. Let's have a look at the map. 15 minutes to go to the destination, and that'll be this part of the world tour in the books. Thankfully. Let's have a look back at that cloud. I guess we could probably give it a few more minutes and then I'll start descending. If we head out that direction, so let's start preparing for that, make sure the heading bug's in the right place. Let's go and have a look at the map in a bit more detail. So what's the weather doing? Wind is calm in the ground. Okay, so we've got our choice of runways really, unless we go for ATIS and listen to what they say. We could go VFR, couldn't we, and put the flight sim radio through its paces, which I never normally bother with, but we could do it for a laugh. So that's annoying. If we just press scroll lock, is it? Tune nearest airport list. Okay. Of course, because of all the small ones, it's not going to show up, is it? There's Ted Stevens. It's on page 3. We only just flew over it a few minutes ago. This is funny. It kind of breaks this interface, doesn't it, having this many airports? Okay, so that's a waste of time trying to use that interface to do this. But we need to start descending as well, by the way, so... In fact, let's go heading mode now. And we're going to aim slightly over to that side. Okay. One 13475. Let's try it. See what happens. Oh, I wonder if I've ever turned it off in the sim, because I've had problems in the past with the sim. Headphone simulation, no. New audio in the background, no. That's all on 100%. Where would it be? I'm wondering if I've switched off air traffic control. Traffic, vehicle density, blah, 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 blah. Use traffic variety. No, that's all fine. AI radio communications, ATC, is off. No, that's allowing him to do it for me. It's not the same thing. I don't know. I'm just wondering if that's why we didn't hear ATIS earlier. There's someone saying it might be in assistance options. I'll just have one more look. Because there's a bug in a couple of the airplanes where you can't shut the radio up. Even if you turn all the radios off and it still comes out the speakers. No, I don't think it is in here. ATC voices, there we go. Hooray! Thank you for that.
Visibility 10. Sky condition, few clouds at 4,300 feet, ceiling 12,900 feet broken. Temperature 2 Celsius.
So, what I was going to do was tune in...
Altimeter 29075. Papa Alpha Alpha Quebec automated
122.4 might get it then.
Wind calm. Visibility 10. Sky condition, few clouds at 4,300 feet, 12,900.
I'm just wondering if we can filter it this way. Apparently not. So it does know that's Palmer. But it doesn't give us the option, obviously, immediately to ask anything. Does Palmer have another name? No, it would appear as Palmer because it appears here as Palmer, so you'd expect it to see it on this list as Palmer. I mean, if it doesn't, it doesn't. I just thought it might be fun to follow a visual approach. It's not doing it, is it? Oh well. There's your picture postcard view. One of the advantages of head tracking is you can do this and then put the aeroplane over there. Or conversely, all those sort of silly games. Anyway, I wonder if we'll have more luck with the airport. The trouble is these are all throwing it out, aren't they? Palmer, Buddywoods, Municipal. Let's give it one more go. Scroll lock, isn't it? PABV. PAAQ we want. It's not working, is it? Oh well. It was a nice idea. So it's coming down to 4,000 feet. Seven minutes out, 12 miles out, or 13 nearly. We might be able to get it when we're a little bit closer. Oh, the Eternal Optimist. Let's turn back towards the airfield then. And we're icing. Oh dear. This was always a risk, wasn't it? We may have to expedite this. Let's turn the heat up to flat out inside the cockpit and put the fans on high. I think that might have worked. Yeah, it's cleared it. I don't actually mind things popping up on the screen. I tend to leave the simulator fairly stock if I can, because otherwise you end up with a house of cards of just more and more fragile things on top of each other. Okay, let's go and stop this descent. So at 2,500 feet. I thought I told it to stop. Have now. There it is. Which runway would we like? 16 would be easy, wouldn't it? Oh, it's actually just doing announcements, so there is no guidance by the look of it. Well, that's great, after all of that. Ah, okay, we won't bother. I was hoping we'd get some instruction to tell us to come in, but we're not going to, so we're just going to go back to hand fly this in now. We're only 6 miles out. And reduce the range. It's going to be the runways over there, isn't it? So just coming down to 2,000 feet. Need to richen the mixture back up. Get the landing lights on. So if we do an orbit of the airfield and then come in at 16, get to have a little look at the airfield as we fly past. I'll do some videos with Beyond ATC soon, but I really need to plug a second monitor in to put it on because it takes up so much screen real estate. That's the only reason that stopped me playing around with it, to be honest. Slowly bring it down to 1,000 feet. I think we're going to need about 1/5 of that runway. Let's go and calibrate for the destination. Yeah, the QNH is the same.
Alpha Kilo 4 tree traffic Cessna November 70052 is clear of the runway. Alpha Kilo 4 tree traffic Cessna November 70052 is clear of the runway.
I presume we're not supposed to go... Yeah, they've improved this a lot, look. You can hear that? So sudden movements on the rudder actually skid the tyres. And it was very soft on landing as well. See you soon, Island Sim Pilot. And yeah, it's interesting. They've improved this airplane a lot. It used to be like a rock when you landed it. It's nice and soft now. So there's suspension in the legs. There's give in the flight model as well. That CFD upgrade has made a huge change to it. Oh, that's another one I meant to mention earlier. The Black Square Bonanza is fantastic. And the Barren. Okay. Let's go and turn the head tracking off because it's going to be a pain in the backside. I'm just trying to remember what I turned on and what I didn't. Oh, we had the other radios on earlier, didn't we? So they don't work quite the same. There's not really much to turn off in this aircraft, is there? And there we go. Should we let some air in? Right. So that ends another flight. I'll go and send the blog post out now with the link to the Volanta track. How did we do on the landing? Should we go and have a quick look? Review your flight. So 109 feet per minute, 51 knots. That's about normal, isn't it, for a little GA plane? The other landing was probably a bit more fierce than that. Yeah, 262. We had to get it down though. We couldn't mess around. Right. I will see you all again soon. Thanks for watching and take care.